You're welcome back. We begin on the labor front this afternoon because a mix of defiance and compliance is greeting a nationwide strike by the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAG, this afternoon as the industrial action takes effect today. The association says it has withdrawn its members from across the country over what it describes as unpaid dues and unfulfilled agreements with the government. The union leaders insist their patience has run out after authorities failed to engage them since February, when the association first signaled its intention to embark on the strike. However, the strike has been declared illegal by the National Labour Commission, which says CLOGSAG failed to give the mandatory 7-day notice to both the Commission and government before embarking on the industrial action. Well, let's crisscross the country and touch base with our correspondents for more. We begin from here in the Greater Accra region, where my colleague Stephen Mensah just returned from some offices of CLOGSAG members and is joining me in the studio. Stephen, where did you go and what did you see?
So we visited the passport office, we visited the Ministry of Works and Housing and Water and Resources. We also visited the Registrar General's Department and the Ministry of Works and Housing, Ministry of Water Resources. And what we observed was that at these ministries, there was no work ongoing. You'd enter and you notice just at one of the ministries, you'd enter and you notice just a security person at post, but then the staff there weren't present. That was at the Ministry of Works and Housing and Water Resources. But the Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment, what you noticed was that there were staff in there, but they weren't working. What we understand from the information we got from these staff was that there was information on Thursday that this strike will be ongoing, so there's no need coming to work and that there will not be any work ongoing beginning from today because of the strike. However, when we visited the passport office, what we saw was that, as you rightly mentioned, defiance. The staff there were working. What we understand will also be that the director there was working aggressively with the issuance of passports, and they say they are working, they do not know about the strike. At the Registrar General's Department, you understand that there are two offices on that compound. That will be the Office of the Registrar of Companies and the Registrar General's Department. What we understand from this site we visited will be that the Office of the Registrar of Companies is working. However, the Registrar General's Department isn't working. So anyone who comes to the Registrar General's Department will be turned away because the strike is in full force at that center or at that facility. But then for the Office of the Registrar of Companies, there's no work ongoing. For the Office of the Registrar of Companies, there's work ongoing there.
You mentioned that you saw people working at the passport office. Did they confirm to you that they are CLOGSAG members?
Yes. For the passport office, we understand that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has its members under the CLOGSAG. So they are working, and that's the defiance. But then you also notice that there were security persons at post over there, and these people are not directly under the CLOGSAG.
Right. Usually when you go to such places on a day of strike like this, you usually see red bands clustered across the place. Did you see anything like that?
No. For most of these places we visited, we didn't see any of such red bands depicting that there's a strike at any of these places we visited. For the ministries and for the passport office or the Registrar of Companies or Registrar General's Department, we didn't see any of these red armbands or anything to signal that there's a strike ongoing in any of these institutions we visited.
You spoke with them, some of them off camera. What did they tell you?
So for most of the people who we spoke to, they tell us that, yes, this is a strike that's ongoing, but they've not really had information as to whether the strike is in full force today. Example, when we visited the Ministry of Works and Housing and Youth Development and Empowerment, they tell us that they got information that, okay, on Thursday, there's going to be a strike on Monday. But then they've not been given full information from authorities that there's strike happening today.
Right. Stephen Mensah, thank you very much. He's bringing us an update on the situation here in the Greater Accra region. Let's head to the Upper West region where my colleague Rafiq Salam is standing by for more. Rafiq, is the situation any different where you are?
The situation in the Upper West region, precisely talking about the One Municipal Assembly and also the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, is that work is ongoing right here. I have spoken to some members of CLOGSAG, and they told me that they were not fully informed about this strike that was scheduled to start today. Some of them also who are at work and who told me that they were aware of it, but they are defined, they are not working, they are only seated down. And I also spoke to some who told me that they are working because they think that this strike is not going to benefit them, but it's only going to benefit the leadership in Accra.
And do you see some stranded customers who are trying to access some vital services?
In the case of WA or the upper municipal or the upper regional political council, work is ongoing. I haven't seen any worker, any client who came for services and then he's been denied. Work is ongoing here. They are not going by the fatwa or the directive that was issued by CLOGSAG. And so work is going on here. Probably maybe tomorrow that we can have a change, but for now, work is ongoing.
Right. Rafiq Salam there. Thank you very much. Let's head to the Ashanti region now, where Clinton Yabua is standing by with more. Clinton, what's the situation like where you are? Hello, Clinton.
Oh, Ken, the situation here is very dire. Yeah, can you hear me, Ken?
Yes, I can. All
right, so the situation here is very dire, and the strike action is taking deep effect in the Ashanti region. The ministries we have visited, the municipal assemblies that we have visited are all in line with the strike action, and they are effectively complying to the directive of their betters or the executives. Here at the Oforoko municipality, you can see that this red adornment we were met with at the entrance is indicative of the fact that the assembly and the staff members here have joined the strike action. Not just the red adornments, but also offices have been closed. Earlier in the morning when we came, we tried accessing some of the offices, but they were closed, and we were told that none of the services that the offices provide are not going to be provided. And the people that we see around today, some of them are staff members who are supposed to be on strike, and in fact, they are on strike, but they are here because some of them, earlier when we spoke to them, indicated that they were not aware of the directive, and so they came, but upon hearing or getting the confirmation and the information from the bosses and the executives, they then decided to join the strike action. So they are here, but they are not attending to persons who have come to seek services. You can see the registry office has been closed. There are several other offices here. The reception is where you come before you are able to access any other office. It's opened, but no one is there to attend to you. Important offices, even such as the registry office, birth and death registry office, have also been closed down. And earlier when we spoke to a man we saw here, they indicated that the only office that they can say is opened is the accounts office, and that's because they had a critical process that was started Friday night had to be completed, and so that's why he is here. But apart from him, no other office has been opened and no other staff is working. So I will just speak to one of the persons I've met here. I met you when I spoke to you. You indicated that no service is being provided. In fact, I even saw you speaking to a woman, telling the woman that there's no way she would access any service today. Tell us, how effective has the strike been in Oforoko?
Meka Ashanti and I Kasana. Last week in Amode, the platform said there was strike because of condition of service. Nti oba on say they read the abobo ayinano kwani nyinano. Nti national and your Oforoko municipal assembly nko.
Ti uchema Oforoko mu de mugina mu pa obi enu obeba obebi office anase obi enu obepa de wo Accra mo be yama.
Oh, said they all call mse wakwa assembly be 5 and 4 ni mewa and also we can ba hanopa no nti wo ba no said the over 2 no nkomo no di ana woni ne di no enu amu na ejina nti said the ekoso baby assembly bia obekoso ekoso ho no sa na ekoso as ayi Oforoko.
Well, Ken, what he's saying is that the Oforoko is also observing the strike action, and it's no different from what we have seen in other municipalities. In fact, earlier when we were at the Asukwa municipality, the place was deserted. In fact, there was no staff was around. We didn't even see the receptionist. We saw one man who said he was a driver of one of the executives of the municipality, and so you can see how deep cut this strike action has been. And I think the most effect is going out to the persons who have come seeking critical services from these offices. In fact, these essential offices like client service, all administrative roles, as at the moment that we talk, have been put to halt.
Clinton Yabua, thank you very much for that update. Let's now head to the Savannah region and speak to Isaac Nonya. Isaac, how are CLOGSAG members reacting to the strike?
Here in Savannah, they are responding positively to what they intended to do. All 7 districts, right from Central, North Gonja, Northeast, and East Gonja, up to West Gonja, they are all responding. I want to use the case of that of West Gonja, which is right here in the capital. Right from the secretary of the EMC to the coordinator director, nobody's in the office. As of somewhere 9 a.m. this morning, we went there with this state to show. We will later the beat came around and also attended at the college. We also checked for the study family. There, those closer are the few that we consider.
Isaac, I would want you to reposition yourself. I'm struggling to hear you.
With only laborers seen around with the senior farm who are not members.
Right, Isaac Nonya, thank you very much. From the Savannah region, let's now head to the Bono East region and speak to Anas Sabit, who is standing by with the latest. Anas, are CLOGSAG members in the region complying with the directive?
Complying with the directive in full force. I know that almost all the assemblies have checked. We have CLOGSAG members, not showing up. Some few of them who came in the morning had to return home because I think that was when they picked up the signal that the strike action is in full force. We also know that the Regional Coordinating Council members of the CLOGSAG are equally not responding to who are coming there. In fact, as I speak to you now, almost all CLOGSAG members at the Regional Coordinating Council are not at the office as I speak to you. We also know that at the Department of Food or Ministry of Food and Agriculture, they're also part of this particular strike. And so I spoke with the regional, chairman of CLOGSAG moments ago, and he just disclosed to me that he has done a couple of monitoring at the various assemblies to ensure that none of their members flout this particular directive. So as I speak to you, from what I know in Techiman and other parts of the assemblies in the region, CLOGSAG strike is in full force here in the Bono East region as well.
And how are residents reacting to this particular strike? Because obviously it's going to affect service deliveries.
Yeah, so in fact, I can say that I met a couple of people at the assembly. Friday was a holiday. There were a couple of people I met who were waiting to go to the assembly for various services, and to go there today being Monday and then be turned away. And for them, what is worrying? One person I spoke with told me that he came all the way from another community to Sechiman to assess the services at the assembly, and he was turned away, and he was told that it is indefinite, so he's worried that he doesn't know when to return. So they are pleading with authorities, government, to listen to the striking workers and then ensure that they get back to serve them. That's what they are telling me here from the church.
Anas Sabit is our resident correspondent in the Bono East region. Thank you.